All right, we are going to continue with our 3 stocks AI series. And in this video, we're going to go over how to actually find these investments. And if you haven't already, make sure you catch up and watch our AI stock playlist. We got 3 videos already. This is the 4th one, and there's about 6 different stocks in these 3 videos. There's going to be 3 to 4 more in this video. So I'll put a link to this playlist in this video and down below in the description and comments. Definitely check these videos out. And of course, if you want to do no research at all, which is what I like to do, nothing, because I'm lazy, then check out this free training. It'll teach you the exact strategy I use and our Fallible members use, which requires less than 15 minutes a week because we actually use our own algorithm. It's great. Big time saver, very effective, makes great money. And you could learn how to do it yourself in this training. So I'll put a link in this video and down below in the description and comments as well. But okay, when we are looking for AI investments, we got to think about how we're going to do it, right? So really the most attractive investment in this space would be one with high growth potential and low current penetration rate. And we'll talk about that a bit more in a second. But the point is you want a huge runway for growth and you want to catch it right before. And the AI space is riddled with these opportunities, but we got to figure out which actual industries we should be looking in because AI can be applied to anything right now, right? Cars, retail, aerospace, everything. And remember, we're looking for the cross section of high growth and low penetration. So first, let's get into what actually makes a great AI company. There's something very specific that we want to look for when researching these companies. So what a great AI company does is take internally generated data and then use it to provide a better service or product for its users. And then as it gets more users, because it has a better product, that data feeds into the product again, making the product even better, gathering more users, and then so on and so forth in that reflexive loop. And AI companies really benefit from the first mover advantage because at the end of the day, whoever has the best data wins. The best data trains the best model, which produces the best product. And the best product is going to get the most customers, right? So it's the idea of data dominance that is super important in the AI industry. So here's a quote from William of Data Science Central. He said, to create a successful AI company, you got to create such a wide moat that no one can catch up unless they pay your price. And the moat is not about technology. There's no monopoly when it comes to deep learning technologies. The only leaders, there is no monopoly when it comes to the deep learning AI stuff. Everything can be copied very quickly. So the secret to have that wide moat in AI is to have a virtual monopoly on the data that you're using to train the models. So in this case, a monopoly also means such a large lead in users and data volume that no one can reasonably catch up. So the data is the magic, but that data can't just be any data. It has to be the right type of data. So we can reduce the formula for a great AI company into 2 factors. First, they got to have a monopoly on the right type of data, and that data has to be used to solve a specific niche problem. So think about companies like Facebook, Google, and Amazon. Google dominates search-based advertising and Facebook dominates social media-based advertising. You can't beat their data at this point. And then when it comes to general e-commerce, Amazon has a huge lead when it comes to learning about our personal shopping desires. These 3 industry giants clearly have defensible positions by virtue of their dominant data. But there are other companies too. For example, a company you may not have heard of, Blue River Technologies. They have the largest collection of plant images in the world. And that data allows them to recommend the exact levels of water, nutrients, and fertilizers for any plant at any stage of its life cycle. And that data is extremely valuable, which is why John Deere bought them for $305 million in 2017. So Blue River is a great example of this defensible moat with the data, the right data. So their robots actually sense, decide, act, and learn millisecond by millisecond. Each year, Blue River robot systems collect all the data from crops over time and close the loop, ensuring they understand the impact of each management decision and optimizing for next year's crop. These aren't old school farming methods anymore. It's way more complicated. Another company is Axon. And you may have heard of Axon by its former name, Taser. Yeah, the guys who create tasers, the stun guns. And again, this is not what you would think of as an AI company, but it is. Because with their main product, they saw a one and done sales cycle. You sell the taser and that's it. So they actually started to leverage their massive database of video footage from their police body cams. And this is a ton of footage, 4.9 petabytes. That's actually the equivalent of the entire Netflix 2016 catalog. So just like Blue River, Axon's database houses unique insights into specific problems. So you got audio and visual data from police arrests. Who can compete with that much data at this point? No one can. That's their moat. So the application for this data includes facial recognition, voice identification, and stress prediction, as well as predictive and prescriptive policing policies, which, you know, we have a big problem here. So they have a really great moat. And if you look at their stock, it looks pretty good. Zoom out a bit, it's been on a very nice uptrend for a number of years now. And you can see it's just about to break out again above this 110 10 level. And this is kind of a small 4-week base, but it is a potential entry. And if you look on the daily chart, you can see it's busting into new highs as we speak. And again, you wouldn't think of Taser as an AI company, but it is. And that's because they have the data. That's the key part. The actual algorithms are a commodity, but no one else has that body cam footage. Another company to look at for AI is Stitch Fix. Yes, the clothing company. So Bill Gurley, who's one of the greatest venture investors of all time, he wrote a great article in 2013 talking about why they have such a competitive advantage. So he said Stitch Fix's personalization technology creates a very similar dynamic within women's fashion. Through a better understanding of the customer and using data to predict future orders, Stitch Fix has an engine that simultaneously better serves the individual desires of the customer and also contributes to higher inventory turns, fewer write-downs, and higher capital efficiency and higher ROIC, which is return on invested capital. This is business model nirvana. So summing that up, basically Stitch Fix's customers help them make the product better. And they're using all this data and the insights to keep improving the product, which makes their customers happy and brings in more customers. And it's a virtuous cycle. And once again, no one has that data. It's defensible data, niche data that's solving a specific problem. So there's another conclusion you can draw from this. Data network effects are better signals for potential moats than just regular network effects. So here's the difference between the two. And I'm sure you've heard of network effects before and how important it is for a company. But data network effects occur when your product, generally powered by machine learning, becomes smarter as it gets more data from your users. In other words, the more users that use your product, the more data they contribute. The more data they contribute, the smarter your product becomes. The smarter your product, the better it serves your users, and the more likely they are to come back often and contribute more data yet again, and so on and so forth. We talked about this. So you can see this in two examples like Facebook and Uber. And they don't just use the data network effects, they use the regular network effects too, and they combine them. And that's why they are so powerful. Well, if Uber made any money, it'd be more powerful, but So Uber benefits from the standard network effect because it becomes more valuable for everyone as there are more drivers and customers. For example, if Uber has a competitor, let's just say Lyft, people aren't going to be using Lyft if there aren't enough drivers. If every driver is joined with Uber, then you're going to use Uber. And how is Lyft going to overcome that? And I shouldn't say Lyft because they are the two main competitors, but say a third company, Wheels, let's call it. They will have an extremely tough time getting over that network effect. But Uber doesn't just have the network effect, they have the data network effect too. And the data they're collecting enables Uber to constantly improve its routing algorithms. So customers get cars quicker, and it ensures that drivers get as many jobs as they can handle. And it makes everyone more happy and more likely to be long-term members of the network. Facebook is another example. They use both types of network effects. The standard one where more people are on Facebook, so you have more friends, so you got to be on there too. And the data network effect because they have so much data on you, they could program your news feed. So it keeps getting more and more personalized based off massive data learning loops. And eventually you become radicalized on one side or the other, right? Facebook, yeah. So the truly great AI companies leverage both sets of those network effects. Okay, now that we know what makes a great AI company, let's see how we would determine what cycle that company is in. By cycles or quadrants, whatever you want to call them, I'm talking about early stage, high growth, maturity, and decline. So one of these 4 stages is the transition stage. And this is where the application of AI in a certain industry is high, but the market opportunities are limited. But that scale should get bigger in the future. So that means that this quadrant or stage has high industry penetration rates and low market scale opportunities. And remember what our holy grail sweet spot is. It's high growth and low penetration. So that's what we're looking for in these quadrants. Another stage is the germination stage. So that's where the application and the market opportunities are not yet mature. AI has played certain functions, but it's still very early. So this quadrant has low market scale and low industry penetration. So we wouldn't really want this. This is like early stage venture companies with loads of potential, but no clear direction and have a good chance of failing, of course. Then we have growth. That's where the level of application in the industry is not sufficient, but the application will broaden in the future with more market opportunities. So this means the quadrant has high market scale, which is what we want, and low industry penetration. Again, this is the place where we want to look. There's lots of ideas, but not enough solutions, so there's a good chance for a company to come in and dominate, and we can make a bunch of money off of it. Then you have the develop stage. This is where AI has a profound impact on areas with high level of industry application and market opportunities. So this is high market scale and high industry penetration. We would hope to get in at the growth stage and then exit probably at the develop stage. So you could take a look at this graph right here and kind of see where different industries fit within these quadrants. So as far as high industry penetration but low market scale, you have digital government. Low penetration and low market scale, you have smart cities, energy, healthcare, and public utilities. Then high market scale, low penetration, you got driving, natural resources, and high penetration, high market scale, retail, education, financial, manufacturing, communication, and media services. So generally, we want to focus on the right side of this graph. We want to invest in industries with large market opportunities and growing industry penetrations. So specifically, our team's going to look at 4 main industries: retail, healthcare, education, and financial. So these 4 industries offer the perfect mix of opportunity and penetration. A lot of penetration in this video. Hopefully it doesn't get flagged, but we'll see. But then of course, you got to find the companies within each industry. As you can see, this is a lot of work. This is what research takes. This is why we have a research firm. And it's also why I like to skip all the research and just stick to quant. That's my game. Because once you do the initial research to build your quant system, then you just let it run. And as long as you built a good one, which we did, then it should be fine. It should work in any market scenario. So feel free to enjoy learning about this, because I obviously do. That's why I'm doing these videos. But also consider the benefits of having that quant strategy so you don't have to depend on doing this hardcore research. And again, we talk all about it in this training. Link in this video and down below in the description and comments. You'll see how nice it is. But continuing on, the retail industry, it's all about customer stickiness. And we kind of talked about it a little bit with Stitch Fix. But what's interesting is that today's customers are really into the social implications of what they buy. That's what the millennial wants, which is strange because I'm a millennial and I don't really see that, because we are all supporting companies that still have heavy ties to the CCP in China. But I guess, what are we talking about here? Environmental sustainability? But can we make like the anti-CCP thing a thing? Boycott Disney? But anyway, AI helps retailers keep a pulse on consumers' ever-changing behavior. What do they care about at the moment? So AI can help retailers in about 4 ways. They can attract consumer engagement, they can manage goods, they can redefine stores, and they can make the supply chain smarter. So goods management and smart supply chain, that's mainly inventory management. So it helps retailers make sure that they're selling what's popular and they have enough space for it versus what's not. So there's companies like ImageDT that helps retailers organize their shelf space, which sounds stupid, but actually there are entire teams dedicated to this. Like for example, at Target, or really any retailer, they focus a lot on how they fit stuff in the shelves. Because if you could fit more products in there, you can make more sales. So this ImageDT, what it does is you can take a photo of a store shelf, and within minutes, that company's AI algorithms will recommend an optimized product placement, informing you of competitor pricing and how to fill empty space. So again, it's not just like organizing it so everything fits, but it's also putting the products that sell the best up front so you can make that sale. It gets really in depth and you just don't think about it when you go to the store, but there's a lot of data behind it. Another way that AI is helping is by redefining stores. So we think everything is moving online, right? But in reality, physical stores are still very important and they're actually the future. See, the future was always going to be omni-channel, which means that there are multiple pathways that influence each other. It's not just online and it's not just in person. Like I was saying, everyone thinks that e-commerce is going to be the only thing, but that's not right, obviously, because the world's largest, most sophisticated e-commerce companies are all opening stores, lots of stores, like Amazon. And by the way, this is coming from Gavin Baker, a really smart tech analyst. So the whole theory is that, online stores, they live and die by the customer acquisition cost, which is the CAC. But if you have a real life store, customers are way more likely to click on your ad when they've seen your brand in real life. They're more willing to trust it. They're like, oh, I saw that store in the mall. So in that sense, you could lower your cost per acquisition by actually having that physical store. And then of course, there's other benefits to the brick and mortar stores, like you could buy online and return in store, or buy online and pick up in store. And people really love that. I really like it. So that's where companies like GeoHey become very valuable. GeoHey leverages its database of economic indicators to help retailers pick the best spot for their new store. Location, location, location. Another industry that's going to be big with AI is healthcare. And there's a few different applications here. You could have intelligent health management, intelligent medical imaging, and intelligent diagnosis and treatment. Basically, these algorithms are going to do it better than the doctor. And the whole point is personalizing the approach to health and medicine. And that's what we've always wanted, right? Because one size does not fit all when it comes to medicine. There are so many side effects. There's so many different things going on. It's really one of the most complicated fields because it's the body. And we know very little. Even though it feels like we know a lot at this point, we don't. These algorithms are going to help us with that. And intelligent medical imaging is one of the clear winners of AI adoption. Through image recognition algorithms, scientists can train an algorithm to detect cancer better than humans. And like we talked about before, these algorithms only get better the more data you give it. So the accuracy is going to get stronger and stronger over time, unlike humans. These doctors, they get old and they can't do what they once did. They're not as sharp. I got a cousin who's a radiologist who just made crazy money just looking at these charts. And eventually what they did is start sending them over to India where it was cheaper. And now they're going to skip India and probably go straight to these algorithms. But he'll be fine. Anyway, we are not done with this series yet. We still got a lot more to talk about. There are more articles coming. This is a huge thematic that we are tracking. Like I said, we already have 3 videos. This is the 4th. There's going to be, what, 6, 7? I don't know. If you want to see those, make sure you subscribe. And if you haven't watched these other videos, they are important. We talk a lot about DRAM and NAND and all these different memory things that are key to this AI industry as well. Remember, there's a link in this video and down below in the description and comments to get to this playlist. Watch these videos. And don't forget about this training. Take that too. Do those things, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Stay fallible out there. Bye.